for people all around the world to hear Face the News, where news that matters comes straight to you, engaging, timely, and significant. Get involved, face the facts, and face the news. Awesome. Hey, Barbara, how you doing, lady?
How you doing, Dr. Lotus Roche? Good to see you, beautiful, as usual. How are you?
I am humbly honored to be sitting here next to you on our news show, Face the News, where we are helping people to do what?
Face the news in their own backyard. Yes.
Awesome. So today, folks, we want to welcome you to the show, and we want to encourage you, go ahead and share this broadcast with your friends, because we don't have bad news. What kind of news we got, Barbara?
We got the good news coming your way. Good news stories.
Yes. And you know, Barbara, a lot of shows, a lot of news commentaries, they always talk about the bad things that's going on, but they don't really talk about the great things that's going on. And that's why I'm so happy on Face the News. We're talking about great news all around the world that's impacting you, people you know, love, and care about. So, Barbara, man, we've got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to get right into it. And again, welcome to Face the News, where we are helping you face the news that's in your own
backyard.
All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this thing that people are calling the jab. And we want to know, should Christians get the jab? A lot of people are asking that. So, Barbara, you want to talk to them a little bit about what the jab is?
You know, I thought you were going to never ask the jab. Let's pull up what we're talking about, the definition of what the jab is. You're talking about poking somebody, especially with the sharp object. So we know with all of this COVID environment, COVID-19 going on, we're talking about actually getting stuck with the needles.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So should Christians get stuck with this needle? There's a lot of controversy going on about it. Some good and some not so good. And we're not going to necessarily give you our opinion, because we do have an opinion.
That's
we
right.
want to know from you if Christians should get the jab, because many times the argument on one side is God knows all and he's going to save us from this pandemic, so I don't need to get jabbed. The other part of the conversation kind of goes like this. God knows best. He put people in medical professions to make sure we are safe, and we should listen to the medical professions. What say you, Dr. Roche?
I say that doctors are people who are in it like almost any other vocation. They have a license to practice, operative word, practice
medicine.
And so that means we don't know everything about anything. And we are practicing on people.
Humans.
Typically, we practice on lab rats or other animals. Yet we have been, I guess, we've been asked to embrace the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm.
Right.
Even though we are practicing medicine. So I think we want to be very clear about the fact that although doctors are practicing medicine, it is up to you, the individual, to decide what's best for your body, especially when it comes to these things that people are talking about, the jab, the vaccine. And of course, vaccines, and here's the definition, a vaccine is a substance that's used to stimulate the production of antibodies and provide immunity against one or several diseases prepared from the causative agent of the disease. So basically, they're taking the derivative of the disease, if you will, and they're implementing it into your body so that you can build up the antibodies. But there's been a lot of talk with the jab that there's no longer any of the disease the C19, and we're going to call it the C19. You guys know what we're talking about in the jab. So the question becomes, what's in the jab? So many people want to know what's in it. A lot of companies out there that are giving the jab are not disclosing what's in it. And so people are leery. So many of the Christians that we've come into contact with believe that they should not get the jab. And some people believe that they should get the jab. Barbara, I know you had to go overseas for travel most recently. And I know there was some talk about you having to get the jab. How were you feeling when you felt like, okay, I got to go overseas? Do I have to take it? Should I take it, or what have you, as a Christian woman yourself?
Well, I actually want to talk for a moment before going into that scenario about the fact that the Christian church, especially Black churches, were always a place where you could definitively find the right information for our community. And I don't know if that is still the case for a lot of churches, but we look to our ministers and our leaders of the community to give us guidance on medical, guidance on government. Even though they're supposed to be church and state separate, we always, even back to slavery, we looked for the guidance from the church. In my case, it wasn't necessarily promoted or negated, but I felt compelled to do it. Even though in the beginning I was against it, I was thinking about the whole Tuskegee experiments and all of the experiments that have been done historically on Black people. But mine was a personal choice more than a church choice. I have an elderly parent, and I know that I was going to be exposed to a multitude of different people in an entirely different country.
Right.
Now, I got to tell you, when I went to Nairobi, what was shocking was not the fact that, A, they don't have as many vaccines as we have here. That was shocking enough. Mm-hmm. B, they don't have the availability of the medical staff that we have. But what was shocking to me was their preventative strategies. Yes. What do I mean? Everywhere I went, whether it was a doctor's office, a grocery store, a gas station, the airport, no matter where you went, there were protocols, standing protocols, meaning there was a station for you to get your temperature taken before you go into a building. There were antibacterial scrub stations that you had to put your hands underneath to get antibacterial rub on your hands. Right. Not a person that we came across was without a mask. Those are three simple protocols: a mask, antibacterial, and temperature checks that you do not see readily available. Felt compelled to, because I was protecting what I thought was protection for my loved ones. Right. And that was my reasoning. Nothing to do with the state, nothing to do with the government, nothing to do with, actually, I was an anti-jab person. Very vocal about it. But I thought this was a better choice for me at this moment. That's right.
Awesome. And you know, there are so many people that weigh heavily on both sides, and we respect both sides. And I wanted to share something that I recently learned about a minister in Baltimore. He shared that his congregation was very, very skeptical about taking the jab. Terrace King and at Liberty Grace Church of God. And I think that, like you said, there was a time where we went to our churches to really get guidance on what God would say. And a recent person that I had on my show, Dr. Lamar Price, he shared on that show that the Bible speaks about we are not to add anything to the body that could potentially harm the body. And I think that's where so many people are having questions with it. And for us, it's not up for us to decide what's right or wrong
What's
for
wrong? That's
you,
right.
the folks at large. It's, for us to do what brings us peace. And, Mr. Terry King said that the people, and I quote, in his conversation with statnews.com, he said that the people in his community have raised concerns about the potential vaccines, and I'm going to do one better. I'm just going to bring it up on the screen because I really like to have information that is critical to what we're sharing. So I'm going to bring it up to the screen. This is a interview that was conducted by statnews.com, and of course, I'm going to put this here for everybody. And he said that the community has raised concerns about the potential vaccine's efficacy and have questioned whether injections of the virus could actually infect them with the disease. And they may also face socioeconomical barriers to ascending the vaccine at a convenient time in a comfortable setting. And now here's the thing. We know that many people right now are not being allowed in certain places, even churches. I had someone from the Catholic Church share a very compelling story. Actually, it's covered on YouTube about the fact that parishioners were going to churches and churches were telling them, no, if you don't have the vaccine card, you can't come in. And I think it's a problem because what we're seeing is where people, it's almost like a race war. And if you don't have the vaccine, then you're persona non grata. If you do have the vaccine, you're persona non grata. So I think it's really important that people just love people and really understand that it is a personal choice.
Yeah.
People have the right to make the choice. Right. And I know most recently we've heard some news where even the president wants to mandate that people get the vaccine, the jab. I like to call it the jab because I've been in the medical field for a long time in clinical engineer with Kodak for many years ago. And if it's something that I don't know what the chemical parts of it is, I don't consider it a vaccine, especially if it's not something that lives up to the definition of what we know as a vaccine.
Well, we want to know what you have to say.
Right.
We want to know what you have to say about the jab. So put your posted comments down below. We're looking to hear from you what you want to say about this jab. And let's also say this. We ask that you be very respectful of the opinions of other people, because just because they don't agree with you doesn't mean that they're right or they're wrong. It may mean that it's right for their life. Would you agree, Barbara? I absolutely agree, because you and I don't always agree, but it's right for your life is right for your life. And what's right for my life is right for my life. And the opinions we share are not necessarily the opinions that we share.
Exactly. And the opinions that we share on this program of even our upcoming guests are not necessarily the opinions of our broadcast, but we believe in freedom of speech for all people, and we welcome all opinions with love and light.
That's right.
So with that said, we're going to move over to the next question about this thing right here. Many of you know about this thing called the Red Table Talk. And the Red Table Talk is an amazing talk that's done by 3 women, if I'm not mistaken, and many of you may know them. There is Jana Pinkett Smith, her mom, and of course her daughter, and they do something called the Red Table. And so we were actually talking about it, I want to say last week, and what we came up with is, how does the Red Table Talk help people to kind of be transparent and deal with their issues, which I think is great to deal with your issues. But what is too much?
How much is too much?
How much
is you doing too much?
Really too much.
Yeah. So the conversation was about the indiscretion
yes
of the mother
Yes.
Jada,
Yes.
with this young fellow.
Right.
And they discussed it on air. And I know many people have lived in abusive relationships, familial things that happen, rape, incest, all those things. And you've been told what goes on in this house stays
in this
house.
That's right.
What do you say about that, Dr. Lotus Roche?
Well, I think sometimes because we suppress people's freedom of speech,
right?
Oftentimes children who have been abused, and I'm one that fall in that category, not at the hands of my parents. My parents were working parents, and of course we had to go to babysitters, so it was at the hands of my babysitter's grandson. And the thing is that in my book, Transitioning in the Middle of the Crisis, I share that many of us are broken birds, and we are ever hovering right above the surface of the ground, but we never ignite and take flight, which is one of my taglines.
Right.
We don't ignite and take flight because we are broken birds and we have been silenced. Our voice has been silenced, and
that's baggage.
Children, right. Children are to be seen and not heard is the old cliche, and so because of that, it stifles our voice of freedom that should ring out when there are injustices that we face as children and even as adults. And I think the thing about the Red Table Talk that Miss Jada Pinkett and her family are doing, I think it's superb. And here's the thing, and we put this right on here now, we're not being paid by the Red Table Talk or nothing like that, but we want you to see this is a real red table that they sit at and that they talk to, and you can join the show and you can add your email address and all that, because they want to hear from people that are watching the show. But here's the thing with this, they do other things that are really important. And I'm going to scroll up. They have other talks. Are you drinking too much? Things like that. They talk about infidelity. They talk about things that are uncomfortable.
Right.
And so the topic of when there was a indiscretion came up, and now they could have swept it under the rug, but they chose to talk about it. Real talk, real people, real lives, real emotions. They got down to the nitty gritty. They emoted, they showed themselves as the spiritual beings having a human experience that they are. And I thought it was very interesting. It was very powerful. Yet the question becomes, what is too much? So Barbara, in your opinion, what is too much?
You know, I'm not sure if anything is too much, as opposed to if it's going to cause detriment to my family. You know what I mean? If it's going to cause hurt for my children, if it's going to cause hurt to my spouse, if it's going to cause hurt to my mother to expose this thing, whatever it is, I might pause, as opposed to, showing all, taking off all of the garments to show all of what's going on. I think there's a way to tell a story without showing all of the gory details. And I think there's a way to have transparency without hurting and harming others. And so that's my take on how much is too much. You have to be able to be discretionary, to a degree that helps you to tell your story that will help other people to be able to tell their story. And it depends on the audience as well, because you can tell that story, certain stories you can tell in an audience of people who have been through some things you've been through.
Right.
You can tell that story in an audience of maybe women. You can tell that story in an audience of all maybe males. Right. But I just caution and pause on transparency that's going to be harmful to my family.
Awesome. And I concur with that, because here's the thing. Miss Jada Pinkett shared this, and Mr. Will Smith, they shared this on one of the shows that they've done, that when things came out about certain things, people were, kind of saying things out in the open, and their kids kind of heard these things. They were in earshot, and it made it very uncomfortable. And because it made it uncomfortable, the question becomes, how are the children?
Right.
You know, people want to look at how are the children first, but the question is, how are you? How is Jada? How is Will? Because this happened to their life real time.
Real time.
And so many people have been, not as sensitive, but some people are sensitive. Like, look, let them have their life. Don't crowd them. Don't just give them a hard way to go. Just allow them to be who they are without all of this craziness, because after all, they were confident enough and loving enough. And I say loving, they loved each other enough. They loved the family enough to say, let's bring it to the table, because they could have said, you know what, we're not bringing it to the table.
Well, the thing is, the other side of that coin would be, since you brought it, let's hammer it. I mean, some people just, since you brought it, you didn't have to bring it.
Right. But here's the thing. The red table talk also, in my opinion, is a tool. Hold on. Dry throat. Woo.
I love it.
Didn't have my water regularly like I do in the mornings, but the red table talk is also a tool
to get people to dig
in, to help people to be very transparent, to have some sense of catharticism. I wish Kevin Hart was here right now. He could take that word out, but it's very cathartic, and also it helps the healing process.
Yes,
but most importantly, it shows again that they're spiritual beings having this human experience,
and they're human.
Exactly.
People make errors,
and it helps them really, because it was all over the news.
Yeah,
it helped them to get out in front of it as well.
Yeah, to get past.
And I think that's real important thing, because when you get out in front of it, you can deal with any situation on your own terms.
That's right.
Devoid of people saying whatever they're going to say, because people
going to talk.
People are going to talk,
and they're cruel.
Yeah, very, very cruel, very callous. And this helped them to get out in front of it. This helped them to stand up to the world and say, look, this is my laundry. Yeah, it's already out. So I'm going to wash my laundry, put it in the dryer, fold it, and put it away the way I
want it on my terms. That's right.
Here's what I always say. If you don't take care of life, if you don't deal with life, life is going to deal with you. And on the red table talk, what they've chosen to do is to deal with life head on, knowing that there are consequences.
Yes, there are.
To everything you do, there are consequences. But these brave ladies right here, to include the other members of the family that you don't see right here, right? But to include Mr. Will Smith and their sons, they step in front of the problem or the challenge and say, you know what, we're going to deal with it. Yeah. And you got to have respect for people that deal with it on that red table talk. And I think, you have to really decide what's too much. And we just wanted to touch on that here at Face the News, because we help people to face the news right in their own backyard. Okay. I love it. So I love it too. And much love out to Jada and her family. And the whole Smith family. Will Smith. We love each and every one of you guys, and we send you the best blessings ever. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep rocking it, and keep that red table going. We love it. So the other thing we wanted to come and talk to you guys about is about women's issues, and why are we still fighting certain women's issues? Really, why are we
this Roe v. Wade?
Because it's crazy. So let's talk about that a little bit, Barbara.
The Roe v. Wade is an old issue of the two state and not necessarily church, but the state and the court saying when a woman should or should not have an abortion. Right. Texas this past week said a 6-week abortion ban takes it. They took it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court didn't do anything according to them. Roe versus Wade. And what's the point is, the point of this whole matter is, some people want to say that a woman should not have the right to have an abortion if a fetus is a certain week long.
Wow. You paused before you said have an abortion.
Yeah.
It's still like taboo off your tongue.
It is. It hurts to come off my tongue.
Like taboo off your tongue. Now here's the thing, and what I've shared in the credit below, as you can see, if you go to this video, Roe versus Wade, and play it, if you talk about the fact that this has been a practice globally for eons.
Yeah.
And the question becomes, why is it that women and men are so ready to tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies, but you don't have men and women telling men you need to have a vasectomy? And
yeah,
that is a two-edged sword. I think that it's very destructive to women because it causes them to not be allowed to control their own body, because it takes two people to get pregnant.
Yeah, okay? But you talking about the woman's own body, the argument would be, what about the child?
Yes, I concur with that. So here's the flip side of that, and you and I talked about that, and I want to say thank you to Ariane DeVoe. She did this article in CNN. Supreme Court reporter is what she is, and she did this article. So we're sending credit out to you for sending this in. I think it's great.
Recent. This is new. This is September 1st this year. Exactly.
So here's the thing, and that's what Face the News is all about. We grab the latest news, which is great, from all around the world, and we present it to all of you to hear what you have to say.
Right. We want to know what
you different. We just ask you to be respectful. So with that being said, when we talk about the unborn fetus, I believe that we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes, we are.
And if we look at what many people say about the Bible, that God knows our journey before we're even on the earth plane, then in my opinion, God already knows what's about to happen.
Right.
Do I agree or disagree? Let me say this. I think it's up to that person for their own choice. And the reason I say that is because, again, there's been many women who have been raped.
Yes.
Who had children and treated the children very badly because they were made to
keep the child.
Baby.
That's correct.
Or if they had the baby went into foster homes. Many of the people in foster homes, and I have family members who were in foster care, a lot of them have a lot of emotional and psychological concerns, even spiritual concerns, because they were given up. Another thing that I want to bring to light is this. You know, many of us sit in judgment of other people.
Yes.
Many of us sit in the seat of the scornful. And a lot of times we are not looking at it from the perspective of the person. If that person was raped, or if that person was a young person and they, had unprotected sex, and this is the repercussion of it.
You don't know
what the situation is.
So you don't know a person's emotional stability until you walk in that person's shoes. You can't say what a person will or will not do, can and cannot do, unless you've walked in that person's shoes.
Exactly.
We're quick, like you just said, Lotus. We're quick to make a judgment.
We're quick to judge. And the thing that really disturbs me, Barbara, is that people say, I'm a Christian. Okay. This is an example. I'm a Christian, but yet you shouldn't be doing this and you shouldn't be doing that. And you're going to go to hell for this and you're going to go to hell for that. But they leave out the portions of the Bible that says, judge not, for with that same measure of judgment you judge, you shall be judged also. And that they should not be sitting in the seat of the scornful. That is the most highest position to look and pass judgment on all spiritual beings having a human experience.
And he who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. But a lot of them are stones. A lot of them are downright boulders. Downright boulders. Okay. So we have to be very clear and careful about what it is that we tell women that they should or should not be doing with their bodies. Mm-hmm. And again, whatever applies to women in that regard, it should apply to men. It should. Because if you're running around here and you got 8 or 9 babies with 8 or 9 different women, it may be time for, right? Little extra snip. Little vasectomy thing going on. But again, that's a judgment call. It is. Let's be real. That's the judgment call. So we keep it 100 here on Face the News. So again, my take on it is a woman should be able to do with her body as she has been guided by her Most High. Yeah. That is my take on it. Mine as well. I don't believe that men or anyone outside of that woman herself should have a say-so as to what she does with her body. But ain't you a Christian, Miss Doctor? I don't classify myself as a Christian. I classify myself as a believer in the Most High. And the reason why I say that is because for many years I classified myself as a Christian. And unfortunately, let me go back. As a young child, I grew up, I went to Catholic school. Okay. I was an altar girl. Okay. And in the Catholic Church, I learned a lot of things that was happening when it comes to Christianity, Christian. There has been more lives taken in the name of Christianity because Christianity, in my opinion, is a religion. I don't subscribe to any religion. I subscribe to the God guidance in my life. Okay. So I try to be very clear on that. And it's hard because we've been conditioned to think and believe certain things in certain ways. And so as I've begun to break from that concept of religion, because see, here's the thing. Religion teaches you what to think, not how to think. In my opinion, the Most High teaches you how to think. And the first thing that the Most High taught me is to think from a place of love. From a place of do no harm, goodwill to all with harm to none. And so I'm very specific. And people may say, oh, throw a brick at that chick because she's not a Christian. I rather you see, that's what some folks do. Right. But they want to call themselves Christian. So I don't subscribe to that. But what I do subscribe to is that I am a child of the Most High. That's what I believe. Right. That is what brings me peace. Right. And what brings I've been in Catholic churches, I've been in Pentecostal churches, Baptist church, I've studied Buddhism, Hinduism, very well rounded. And I've been all around the world. And one thing that I know is that there is a supreme being that reigns above all that says you shall have no other gods before me. And if you look in Christianity, the Catholicism, they have statues, which many people call practices of paganism. So I could go really, really deep into that because I've studied theology. Yeah, and we're not going there. We ain't going down that rabbit hole. But what we are saying is we love you. Yes. Those of you out there that are going through some issues, know that the Most High loves you. And I encourage you to seek the guidance from the Most High. Women are not to be used as pawns. Women are not to be used as punching bags or rape items, and nor should men. That's right. I believe in my heart of hearts is that a woman's body
is her own blessing from God, because we only come with the one physical body, but we are spiritual beings having a physical human experience. So that's my take. Barbara, what's your take?
My take is I profess Christianity, although I believe that I'm a believer, and Christianity is religion. So I understand that religion is one thing, but relationship is what I go by. I have a relationship with God. And so before we go down that rabbit hole, we're going to go to the next topic.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I love it. So it's unequivocal, folks. We both love the Lord. So we want to make sure you know that above all, we both love the Lord, and we can agree to disagree to a higher calling.
Yes. And we can agree to disagree. And that's the other thing that I want, before we go to the next topic and a final topic, is that what you believe is what you believe.
Exactly.
As long as that, as Lotus just said, Dr. Roche just said, that gives you peace, and you can traverse in your life in peace, because anything else that causes confusion is not of God.
It's not of God. That's right.
And so with that said, you can say the Most High, I can say God, you can say Buddha, you can say Muhammad, you can say whatever you want. What gives you peace in this life? Because we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Amen.
And that's what we have to recognize. And to love one another. That's, no matter what religion you profess or go by, if it's not about love, then it's really not about God, because God is love. Right.
And then I love how you put that. It's so sweet, short, sweet, and to the point. God is love, and it's unequivocal that if we say that we love God, then we must love our neighbors. Yeah. We must love our neighbors, and we must embrace them in the light of God, in a non-judgmental way. But it's difficult because we've been conditioned to judge. And so with that being said, we're going to share with you a quick commercial or two, and we'll be right back.
Don't go away.
Share this with you. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Barbara H. Smith, known as the Masterful Presenter. If you could figure out a universal language, personality code that connects with potential client, how powerful would that be? I empower people to communicate better what they do, what they have, and what they bring to the table. People love to buy. I don't need you to sell it to me. I come in there with an intention, and that's what you're going to do going forward. You're going to go into networking events with intention.
I am here benefiting from the wisdom of Barbara Smith.
She gave so much information on how I can just excel in my business, and I'm taking it to a whole nother level.
I'm learning a lot that I didn't really know about my business.
The information that she's been presenting has been informative and helpful to me.
If you have not been in the presence of Miss Holmes Smith, you need to make sure you do so. Her workshops are authentic. She comes with such training, and she just graces you with her presence, and she allows you to feel the experience like none other before.
I had the opportunity to work with Lotus Roche and her team to create a promo video for my business. And let me tell you, she and her team are pretty darn outstanding. I had recorded a video that we were going to use in the promo. And during our meeting, they actually walked me through what worked in the video, and they provided suggestions for improving the video so that I can actually capture the audience and the clients that I want, and the people that need my services. They actually told me what I could add to the video and how to set the entire thing up so that when people watch that promo, they will come away knowing who I am, what I do, and why they should contact me. So if you have the chance to work with Lotus Roche and her team, you are not going to be disappointed.
It's time for you to start bossing in social media. For all your social media needs, you come to the right place at the right time to get your website designed, landing page, social media platforms, and get the training you need to get in front of the people that's ready to buy your products and services. Let me train you with StreamYard, Zoom, Clubhouse, and much more. And let me help you get your virtual professionals, not assistants, because assistants can only assist you, but the virtual professional can give you that professional flavor that you need to expand your reach and increase your revenue. Jump on in and get in where you fit in and start bossing today.
Awesome. And so listen, folks, for those of you that's just coming into the room, into the studio, we are happy to have you here. And I gotta tell you,
Hey ho, and welcome to the show.
Love that.
All right, so we're back with Face the News, and I am super happy to be here. I am the co-host, just like Barbara, she's the host and the co-host. We are hosting with the mostin'.
Loving it.
On Face the News. And welcome to the show. If this is your first time or if this is you're coming back, we thank you for your support, and we ask that you go ahead and share this, because this type of news that we're sharing, Barbara, tell them what kind of news we're sharing.
We take the news that might not be so great and find the great story inside of it so that we can share with you the positive spin on what is going on. Where, Lotus? In your own backyard.
Awesome.
So we're here right now, and our last topic we want to talk to you about is travel. Oh my God. Are you ready for the electric car that can run 1,000 miles before being charged? And it's made out of hemp. We've got one. www.mimsmotorsusa.com has it. It is a supercharged vehicle, and it kind of runs on the app too. So pretty cool stuff. We want to show you what they look like. Did you bring that up, Lotus?
Yes, I can bring that up. Give me one quick second. So here's the thing. Before we go there, I wanted to give kudos to Barbara, because I had never seen that particular car.
Wow.
I didn't know that the car was made from hemp, which is natural.
Yeah.
And here's the wonderful thing that kind of blew me away, Barbara, and you did this for me. It blew me away because it's taking us away from using all types of metals and all types of things that are not good for the body.
Not sustainable.
So I was really blown away by that. So I'm going to grab the link in a moment. I'm just, waiting for this thing to come up here. But Barbara, what made you look at this? How did you find it?
Well, on the Black Business Expo 2 weeks ago, there was a gentleman on there, Bruce George is in contact with so many wonderful people. And one of the projects that's going on with Mr. Whaley is Mims Motors. They have this whole community that they're building in the Bahamas.
Yes.
And with that community, this gentleman of Mims Motors is creating a car dealership for the community. And then he talked about the actual car itself. Now, I don't know if you know, I am a car fanatic. You know, when little girls were coming up and I was a little girl coming up, we were expected to play with dolls and Barbies, but I wasn't that one. I wanted to know where the big trucks were. And so this intrigued me when I saw this baby here is phenomenal. Look at that. Sleek. It's SUV status. It's clean lines. It's environmentally friendly. It's electric. That would have been cool if you had that queued up. It's electric and it goes for 1,000 miles, one of the longest distance running electric vehicles on the market today. And it's on the market today at a reasonable price. Is that price showing there? That price is amazing for this type of vehicle. I think it runs around 58,000. That's the small one, the MIMS E2. And then there's a MIMS E7. And then there's a MIMS E Plus. And then the big boy. So really cool vehicles. If you get a chance, go out to MIMS Motors USA and check it out. It is a phenomenal car made from hemp. And I don't have the statistics, but if you go to the website, I don't have the statistics on about how many pounds of hemp it takes to make one of these beauties, but it's out there on the website. You should take a look at it. Really, really cool stuff. You're on mute.
I said, fantastic. And what we've actually done is we actually now, and I must say this is our disclaimer. We are not paid by MIMS Motors or anything like that. Our job is to make sure we're bringing the good news. And so
bringing you news.
And there is a link where you can go directly to their website and check it out and find out about the E2s, the E7s, and everything that's coming your way. They give a full view of what's going on, the dream, the build it, the love it, of course, and so on and so forth. And this is the remarkable price, starting at $58,000. Okay, and it has an onboard recharge and electrolyte swap capacity of 24,000 miles before service. Before service. And so here's the thing. It's made out of hemp. It's beautiful. A lot of times we get cars, trucks that are made, differently, we'll say, and sometimes they're not pleasing to the eye. But these are pleasing to the eye. They're very comfortable as far as we know. And again, we are not being paid by MIMS Motors. But MIMS Motors, if you are listening to this broadcast, we would love for you to come on our show. Tell us a bit more about what you do. And of course, we would love to be an affiliate for the company any day. So with that being said, Barbara, I want to thank you for bringing this up because this is amazing. Like I said, I never knew that this thing existed. It's just totally, totally amazing, just like you.
Oh, thank you so much. But this is the thing that we do here, Lotus. We bring news that's positive news, that's helpful news that people are not aware of. And I appreciate the things that you bring to the show that I don't know about and that I'm not aware of. And that's what we're doing here on Face the News. We're bringing you from news around the world, but even news that you find in your own where? Backyard. And that's what we do.
Yes. And so with no further ado, we want to tell you we are here right in front of you on Face the News every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to share this broadcast with your friends. You can pick us up on Roku, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can see us everywhere. You can see us on LinkedIn, but you don't have to think in. Just come on and jump in to Face the News, where we are bringing you and asking you to face the news that's happening right in your own backyard. Okay, so what's coming up next, Barbara? I know we've got another show coming up on next week. Do we have any topics that we're going to be trickling out, or are we going to ask some of our viewers to also share some topics with us that they like to see?
Well, we've got some things up our sleeves. We're going to leave them there. But right now, what we want to do is ask our viewers if there's news that you use and news that you would like to see and like to see us face the news with, drop it in the chat. Let us know. This is something I'm interested in, or this is something I discovered right here on Face the News. We'd love to bring it before the audience and share when we find out what's in your own backyard.
That's right. And so until we meet each other again, please have a great day, have a great time, have a great life. And always remember, there's always news that's going on in your very own backyard. All right. Until we meet again, take care and be so blessed.
It's time for people all around the world to hear Face the News, where news that matters comes straight to you, engaging, timely, and significant. Get involved, face the facts,